Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Mishka and I am a former au pair who makes video content related to the whole au pair process to help you along on your au pair experience. In today's video, we are going to discuss host family red flags. Red flag is if the host family is not willing to connect you with any of their former au pairs. This may be because they do not want you to know certain information about them or how they treat their au pairs, and they know that the former au pair may give you information that they do not want you to know. So it can be very concerning if they're not willing to share this with you, because speaking to a former au pair can give you insight to the family about how they treat their au pair. It also allows you to verify information. So if the host family tells you something in the interview, you can confirm this with the former au pair. So I think it's a great way to understand the family better. And if they're not willing to do this, this can be very concerning and you may need to reconsider the family. Another red flag is if the host family tells you that they do not have a set schedule, or if they're not willing to give you the schedule. This can be very chaotic when you arrive and you do not know what is expected out of you. And this can also be very challenging if you are only going to be told the schedule on a weekly basis and you aren't aware of having something that is set. And for me personally, I like to set schedule that never changed. Host family does not have a set schedule. This could also mean that they may expect you to work a lot more hours than what is expected out of you and what is legal. So it's very important that you know the schedule and that you also ask the former au pair, if you are able to speak to him or her, about how they found the schedule and what the schedule is like and if it ever changed on a weekly basis. Another red flag is if the host family does not schedule a video call for you and the host kids. This won't be the first video call that you would have, as you'd probably speak to the host parents first. Sometimes you may meet one or two kids, but usually the host family will allow you to meet the kids. This is a great time to see if you have a connection with the kids, how the kids' behavior is, also how respectful the kids are, and if you like the kids, because ultimately you are going to be spending the most time with the kids. If they don't allow you to see the kids or meet the kids before you arrive, this can be concerning because perhaps they're trying to hide certain things like learning disabilities or behavioral problems. It's really important that you meet the kids before you match with them. Another red flag is if the host family is not willing to pay for your phone bill. I met an au pair whose host family was not paying for their phone bill because it is such a small expense that the host family has to pay, as they usually just add them to the family phone plan. And they already know that au pairs get such a small stipend per week that this should not really come out of the au pair's stipend. This is different from obviously if the au pair purchases an iPhone or an Android, that's for the au pair to pay. But for paying for their data or phone calls and messages, the host family should pay for this. The reason I think that this is a red flag is because this is such a small expense. If the host family is not willing to pay for this, it makes me question whether or not the host family would be so open with purchasing certain grocery items like a yogurt that I would like, or certain milk brand, or if the family, when they decide to do takeout for dinner, are they going to include me, or are they going to expect that I pay for my dinner when this is something that the family should pay for? So it makes me think that they may not be so willing and open to looking after me. Another red flag is if the family is very big. So if the family has like 4 to 7 kids and they tell you in the interview that they only want you to look after 1 or 2 children. So usually it would be that they expect you to look after the 2 youngest kids, while they tell you that the rest of the kids are in middle school or high school and they'll never need you to look after them. While this may be the intention sometimes, it often is not the case when the au pair arrives. Sometimes the kids overlap because they are siblings ultimately and they will be around each other. So you will find yourself having to look after the older kids as well as the younger kids. And this can be very overwhelming, or you feel like the family has lied to you and it can just feel like a not so great experience. So you have to be very wary and if you can, try to speak to the former au pair and ask them about their experience and how it was handling such a large family, and if you did feel like it was separated or not. But if you get the sense that you will be looking after all the kids, perhaps that won't be the family for you. Another red flag was if I was required to download a tracking app on my phone. I understand that this could be for safety reasons or for reasons concerning the children. However, I felt like I was a very responsible adult and I carried myself in that manner. So I expected the host family to trust me and trust my instincts, as well as trust my ability in looking after their children, where they wouldn't need me to download a tracking app. Although I never did anything reckless or concerning, I felt that as a member of their family, I would have that trust and they would trust me and not try to invade my privacy. Some au pairs don't mind downloading a tracking app, and that is each to their own. But I never wanted that, and luckily for me, my family never expected that out of me. So that was really nice. I do know that some au pairs had to download a tracking app and they didn't feel very good about that. The red flag is if the host family has had many rematches. I mean, this is a red flag for obvious reasons, because it would leave you questioning why the host family is in so many rematches. What are they doing wrong and how are they treating the au pair? So to me, that could be very concerning, and that would make me question whether or not they are a good family. This could be a potential red flag, or maybe not a red flag per se, but something that you should be wary of, and that is with separated parents. So if the mom and the dad don't live together but they share an au pair, so you may have to go from the mom's house to the dad's house and back and forth and travel with the kids. This is not really a red flag because this is just how some families operate, but it could be very challenging, and I really would urge that you ask as many questions regarding the situation as you can, so that you really understand how everything works and that you know your role. And you should also just make sure that you are very comfortable with everything. I personally would find it really difficult, settling from place to place and not feeling like I have like one home. Another question that you should ask to identify if there are any red flags is based on how they celebrate their holidays, such as Thanksgiving and the 4th of July and Christmas. So are you going to be a part of that celebration, and are they open to having you there? Because being an au pair, the whole point of the program is to have a cultural exchange, and if they don't plan to include you in these type of events, that can feel very isolating to you, and it could leave you feeling very lonely and like you are not part of the family. The main differences between being a nanny and being an au pair is that an au pair is meant to be part of the family, almost like an older sister or brother to the kids. And if you aren't going to be included in these events, perhaps the family is really looking for a nanny rather than au pair, but they usually go with the au pair program because it's a cheaper child care program for them. And if that is the case, that's a big red flag, because that means they're not going to treat you like a family member, but rather like an employee. This is also not a red flag, but this is a good question to ask. So especially if you are a very social person, and that is how many au pairs are in the area that you will be living in. I was living in Chicago, which had so many au pairs, which was really great because it allowed me to make lots of friends. I never felt lonely. But I know one au pair, for example, that's living in a very small town, and it's very, very difficult and very isolating to him. So while he has a great family, he feels like he doesn't really have the best social experience that some au pairs get to have. This is not so much a red flag, but something that you also should consider, and that is regarding privacy. I was very lucky that I was living in the attic where no one else used to come up. The room was lovely, and I had my own bathroom up there, so I wasn't sharing with the kids or anything like that. The requirements with an agency and for a host family to be able to have an au pair is that they're able to provide the au pair with their own room. However, the au pair does not have to have his or her own bathroom, and that could mean that either the whole family would be sharing the bathroom or you'd be sharing with kids, and that can be challenging. So if you are someone who wants your own space, like your own bathroom and your own room, try to make sure that you have that in the basement or the attic, where you are kind of separated from the family. Some au pairs don't really realize this, and then they get to the house and find out that they're kind of on the same level as the family, which doesn't give you that separation or that break from the family when you are off work, and that could be very draining for the au pair. Ultimately, you need to remember that there are some families that don't have the best intentions and are looking for just nannies or cheap labor. You have to be able to identify these red flags in order to find a good host family that's going to treat you like you are a member of their family. Remember, you need to take your time in choosing the right host family for yourself. If the agency or if a host family is putting pressure on you to just choose a family really quick, you need to take a step back. You need to take your time in choosing a host family, because choosing the right host family can make or break your experience. You can ask to do as many interviews as you want with the family to make sure your choice is the right choice and you are certain. Don't ignore any red flags. My best advice to you is go with what your gut tells you to do. If you feel weird about a certain family, don't choose them. Your gut knows what is right, and you need to listen to it in this process. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it will help you identify red flags when you go through your interview process with host families. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel so you can get more au pair process content, as well as give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and leave a comment below if you have any questions, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching again, and see you next time.